All right, let's get right into it. Today's briefing is an analysis of asset P001, also known as Cian Morna. Our goal here is to really understand what makes this particular asset so unique in its operational status.
Bottom line up front, asset P001 has a threat classification of Apex. Now, this isn't a designation we throw around. It means that, based on all our data, he is considered the single most dangerous mortal combatant in all of recorded history. Full stop.
So, that begs the question, right? How on earth does an asset achieve a classification like that? Our analysis breaks it down into 4 key areas, and we're going to start with the most fundamental piece of the puzzle, time. What you really need to focus on are these numbers. His commission date is 586 BCE. That gives him a chronological age of over 2,600 years. Now, compound that with a biological aging rate of just 1 year for every 1,000 that pass, and you've got a service history that is, for all practical purposes, completely unprecedented.
This insane longevity leads us directly to our first section, an operational history that is simply without equal. The raw numbers here are, well, they're staggering. We're talking about an estimated confirmed kill count of around 50,000. Just let that sink in. A number that high puts him in a category all by himself. It's not just a little higher, it's an order of magnitude beyond any other combatant we have on record.
And let's be clear about what these numbers represent. These aren't conventional engagements. The vast majority of these threats are hostile, supernatural entities. Everything from carriers of NEPHILIM bloodlines to possessed individuals, disembodied spirits, and a whole host of other things that defy any standard classification.
This timeline gives you just a quick snapshot of his operational scope. I mean, the man has been active from the Iron Age straight through to the Digital Age. We're talking covert ops during the Siege of Tyre, to neutralizing the threat behind the Whitechapel murders in London, all the way up to a recent field test of chemical weapons in Moldova.
And all of that brings us to our second point, what we call the 26th century advantage. This is where all that time on the clock translates directly into an overwhelming force multiplier.
Let's put this in perspective. A modern Tier 1 operator, a top-of-the-line soldier, might have a career that spans, 2 decades? Asset P001 has been operational for over 2.5 millennia. He hasn't just seen a few theaters of war, he has personally experienced the entire evolution of Western military doctrine, from the Greek phalanx right up to modern asymmetric warfare.
There's a quote from his dossier that it perfectly captures the result of all this. His movements, his tactics, his split-second decisions, they're all the product of 2,600 years of muscle memory. There is zero wasted energy. It's absolute economy of motion.
But you have to understand, an advantage like this comes at a heavy price. The psychological profile is intense. He's outlived 4 spouses, buried more descendants than he can count. He's spent over 8 centuries in self-imposed isolation and has developed what analysts call a professional paranoia. It's a key survival trait, for sure. But the personal cost is immense.
You know, the asset's own words really hit home the burden he carries. For him, this isn't just a number. It's the weight of every battle, every loss, every single century he's spent on watch, alone.
Okay, Section 3. Let's talk about the evolution of his combat doctrine. You don't survive on this timescale without being able to adapt, and this asset's methods have been in constant flux to meet whatever new threat comes along. You can see his approach has shifted dramatically over time. He started out as a pure frontline warrior, direct, personal, up-close combat. After a pivotal event in 1314, he shifted to the mindset of a general, focusing on grand strategy. And today, he's a hybrid, seamlessly blending surgical strikes with the most advanced asymmetric tactics. And his modern arsenal, it reflects this hybrid approach perfectly. His main weapon is an ancient artifact, Methuselah's sword, but he's also an expert with modern firearms, particularly favoring the .50 BMG for certain types of targets. He deploys his own proprietary chemical agents and leverages incredibly sophisticated tradecraft like flawless identity management and deep financial reserves built on, get this, centuries of compound interest.
So all of this brings us to our final assessment. Why does this one asset matter so much on a strategic level? I mean, beyond his insane combat skills.
The final piece is this, a locked endgame protocol. The asset has been designated as the guardian of the 2 witnesses. All analysis suggests he's fated to play a critical role in a prophesied endgame scenario, one that, believe it or not, concludes with his own death and subsequent resurrection. This This right here elevates him from a dangerous operator to an asset of ultimate strategic importance.
This exchange, pulled from a joint operation recording, it just perfectly encapsulates his entire philosophy. What looks to us like an unfair advantage, 2,600 years of experience, to him, it's just what it's taken to survive and to keep doing the job.
So when you add it all up, the unparalleled longevity, the vast combat experience, the constant adaptation, and his critical role in the endgame, that is the foundation for the Apex classification. This concludes the briefing. File closed.